From this point forward, we're going to move a little bit faster because we've laid the groundwork. I've kind of done it in more detail here for you, see, and we're going to move on to the Pluto decade. So those of you who know a little bit about astrology, know kind of we all get a little fearful on some level sometimes about a Pluto energy, because Pluto means deep transformation. So it's very safe to say someone going through this period is probably going to immediately address a financial issue. And generally it's a deep financial issue, right? So it's a mortgage issue, it's a tax issue. I remember when I went through a Pluto decade, yeah, I had to negotiate with the IRS and making some payments. How was I going to pay this bill? It's just natural stuff that comes up here. It doesn't mean necessarily that you're broke or everything. I've had people file bankruptcy. I've had them have, like I said, a lot of interactions with the IRS. Maybe have big loans that they take out under this energy. It generally brings up confidential matters. So these are things that we generally aren't chatting about. I'm not telling people I'm working with the IRS these days. You just don't bring that up, so to speak. Now this is the part that again surprises some people is even if you're squeaky clean, you will come around criminal or immoral behaviors. And I don't mean someone lying a little lie here or there. I mean major immoral issues that most of us I think would agree are immoral. But the idea, these are things that you just cannot believe that you're a part of, that you're associated with. And again, it may come through a business partner, it may come through a child, it may become what's happening in your neighborhood, but it comes right up against you. So we come around people in crises. I put the little image here of the taboo game. I don't know if you ever played that when you were younger. But the idea is it's a lot of taboo topics come up in this decade. And again, remember what I said. The opening and the closing of the decade really stand out. So you generally transform your identity under this energy. So let's use our example. Let's look at Barack Obama. Because when he got finished with his Uranus energy, age 50, he moved into his Pluto decade. To be honest, that's not real encouraging for the country because I work off the basis that really the country goes as the chart the President of the United States goes. So if the President had a great Venus energy going on, I'd be personally very happy. I'm not too keen to see him going through a Pluto energy. But think about this. His birthday's in August of 1961, so he would have turned 50 in August of 2011. May 2nd, 2011, unbeknownst to many of us, right? He ordered the killing of Osama bin Laden. So immediately he jumped into a huge Pluto issue that he had to a life and death. Do we kill him? Do we invade a country? And all the details that we know the storyline to be. Since then, okay, just over the next, just from May 2011, you know, the gun control is a Pluto issue. It's an issue of violence. What are we going to do about it? Again, I want to make it clear. This does not tell me what stand he's going to take. He could side with the NRA, he could side the opposite side. It just tells me he's in life and death matters. He's talking, he's thinking about these things. And moral, is it moral? What is immoral? Gay marriage, another hot topic he's having to address. And he raised taxes on the rich. Interesting, catch this idea here with this concept of Pluto is in Virgo. Now I'm doing a little more detail, shading in a little bit more. Virgo is into every man. The idea of we're all equal. It truly is the true embodiment of all men are created equal. That's the Virgo energy. His Pluto's there. So of course it would be, if he's going to raise taxes, is he going to raise them on everybody? No, he's going to try to even things out, so to speak. And again, gets into political trouble for that philosophy, but it's very clear in his chart. And then we can just maybe talk about the political sniping, maybe the inappropriate things we're hearing him say, or people saying about him as well. So again, a Pluto decade. Now that's a very exaggerated storyline, right? So I don't expect necessarily that any of you would go through something that incredibly intense. But again, it shows the bad news there, if we want to go back there, he's going to finish his presidency out under a Pluto energy. So, you know, the wars come under Pluto energy. You know, these are not lighthearted matters, so to speak. And I'm sure there's something going on in his personal life as well that would run this storyline. So here's just a more neutral example. So let's look at this chart. It's a client. The gentleman is still in his 20s, but he had his Pluto. Moon was his first decade. Here comes Pluto. 10 to 19 years ago. I had the lovely chance of talking to him just this past week, and I said, tell me what happened between 10 and 19. A Pluto decade. Now you saw what President Obama is maybe doing. Look at now what happens to a 10-year-old going through a Pluto energy? He was ousted at school, he didn't fit in, he was kind of mislabeled, there was he wasn't seen as intelligent, you know, had a mask of a lot of labels put on him, put it that way. And of course, everyone thought that he was going to be a nothing. At 19, he moved into his Uranus degree. He delayed college. He didn't go into college right away because it didn't look like he was even capable of doing it. At 19, he decided he wanted to get into college. He got in, and now as he's nearing the end, he's now considering graduate school. Kind of a shock. When you see a Pluto energy and then a Uranus decade right back, you can be very reassuring to people. You know, there's hope. You're going to come out of this. You know, you're going to reinvent yourself in ways that are kind of surprising. And many times in the last year of a Pluto decade is where we see huge transformation. I remember I lost 30 pounds the last year I was in a Pluto decade. I just physically transformed myself with effort, but not extreme effort, I would say. So again, we have Pluto here coming followed by Uranus, just as another simple example. So the Pluto decade, just summing it up here, it basically, you are forced to learn management skills. You are forced to deal with issues. You can't brush them aside. You can't ignore your enemy. You must come to the table. You must work out a deal, so to speak. We could apply that certainly to maybe the Obama energy, but even in the individual, it's like, okay, I had a big tax bill. I didn't have the money. What did I have to do? I have to call the IRS and say, this is the deal. I can pay you this much of money, right? I had to go to my competitor. I had to go to the person that I saw as my enemy at that point and had to talk with them. So Pluto draws you to the table. You've got to talk to the banker. You must talk to the therapist. You must go to school and talk to your child's counselor. You have to face some of these issues. You deal with sexual and money issues as well. I think the money issues, like I say, gets into complex monies. Oftentimes, people can be setting up their wills, inheritance, estate issues, complexities in that area, and a lot of sexual issues come up at that point as well. And then you align with power under this energy, but interestingly, you align with power, but it's not a matter of letting the power overtake you. Again, you can come up against, let's go back to that immoral, criminal behavior, okay? So you have a brother-in-law who's doing something that he shouldn't be doing. It doesn't mean you have to go, oh, that's a great thing, let me help you. No, you have to be able to sit at the table, sit at the Thanksgiving table with them, talk with them. You have to go to them and stand next to them. If you want to look at it in a real biblical sense, it's like good has to sit down next to evil and hold their own. Rather than running from it, and I don't want to go there because he's going to be there, no, you go to it and you stand next to it. So it builds a lot of character.